Go. All right, Pop. Well, another day, another dollar, man. How you doing,
Another
man?
day, another dollar, big baby.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Father Son Talk Sports Show. This your boy Paul here with Dad to me, Paul to you.
Hey,
Hey, what's going on, Pop? How you feeling, man?
man, I'm good, man. And yourself?
Man, here. Ultimately, I'm just taking it easy, man. You know, I mean, we got a lot of stuff that we got to get to. We kind of got to go rapid fire a little bit because we got a lot of content. It's been a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff to really go over. So ultimately, everybody's been tuned to the TV. Knows that NFL free agency is bananas right now. I mean, you got players on the move. You got players going here, going there. It's just crazy right now. But ultimately, we wanted to kind of try to do a report to get back to what's actually going on, just so that we can kind of get an update on what's actually going on out there in the world in the NFL today. So, Pop, with that being said, let's get into this free agency, man.
Let's do it.
So let's do it now. You first up, you got Zach Allen, defensive lineman, from the Cardinals last year, moving over to the Broncos. He signed a 3-year, $45 million contract, 32 of which is guaranteed. That's a lot of guaranteed money, but ultimately that's just the way the league is going. Then you got Nate Davis, guard for the Titans last year, moving over to the Bears, signing a 3-year, $30 million guarantee, or $30 million contract with 17 and a half guaranteed up front. Moving to our hometown, Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Browns. I think we get cheers for the Cleveland Browns. All right.
They
So
need it.
hey, they need all the cheers they can
They
get. You know
need
what
all
I'm
the cheers they
saying?
can
These,
get.
these is our team, man. This is what we do. Okay. So ultimately, we got Dalvin Tomlinson, man, defensive line. We need all the defensive line we can get. How many times we see somebody break up the middle and gash us all year long? The Falcons game just stands out in my mind. I never saw a team run up and down the field on somebody like that. That was disrespectful. We're gonna have to pay them
Yeah.
back. You know, I mean, I just got a problem with that. But ultimately, we pick up defensive line help coming over from the Vikings. He get 4 years, 57 million, 27 of which is guaranteed. Then you got Obaniah Okora. Well, see, I had it for a second. You got
Okoro.
Obaniah Okorono Cole. See, I don't know if that's silent or not, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I mean no disrespect, but I'm definitely going to get that down. But he's coming over to provide linebacker help. We definitely need it. Coming over from the Texans for $19 million with incentives around sacks. That's what's being reported right now. Ultimately, you got a wide receiver that I was looking at for our Cleveland Browns. Again, our Cleveland Browns. Okay, but he ends up with the Texans. But he came over from the Rams. He had an injury season last year, right, Pop? He was out all year. But he got 2 years anyway, $15 million, 32 of which is guaranteed. Then you got DJ Moore, and this is what we were talking about with that number one overall pick. The Bears ultimately deal it to Carolina for a wide receiver that's been very productive in DJ Moore. In return, Carolina obviously gets the number one pick. The Bears get DJ Moore, great wide receiver. They also get the number 9 pick in this draft. They get the number 61 pick in this draft. They get they get 2024 first rounders. They get 2025 second rounders. So they were ultimately
Stop
they were
there.
doing their thing.
Stop right there. DJ Moore, that trade to the Bears is significant for two reasons. First of all, the Bears are all in on Justin Fields. All in.
Yeah.
That is their quarterback of the future. There's no more trepidation about that. Um, to me, my Buckeye has deserved that. DJ Moore is a weapon that they didn't have last year, and that's going to help Justin Fields immeasurably. So this was a great deal for the Bears. They got a boatload. I do mean a boatload of picks, and this is a great move for the Bears, and it's a great move for Justin Fields.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I would say that you're right. It comes down to, respect for Ohio State quarterbacks, which I don't think that has always been prevalent in the NFL. Partly before the production in the NFL, but I don't know if they've actually really got a shakeout in the NFL. But Justin Fields, it looks like he's going to get his shot on the big stage, and I'm glad
Absolutely.
that the Bears are doing that. That's definitely a great thing. Moving over, we have Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle from the Steelers, moving over to the 49ers. He is getting 4 years, $84 million, 40 of which is guaranteed. So that's almost half his contract is guaranteed. I know that we were talking about they're inching up to that guaranteed money. It's getting more and more and more. And then we got Mr. Overrated. That's in my opinion anyway. Jalen Ramsey, cornerback from the Rams. Every time I look up, he's either getting burnt or getting ran over by somebody.
Or getting beat up
So
by
at
Golden
the end of the
Tate.
day, yeah, or getting beat up, or
By Golden Tate.
it's just something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you,
always
you, you
something.
just you just never really know what you're going to get. But overall, for Jalen Ramsey, the Rams will get back in return the number 77 overall pick, and they're going to get tight end Hunter Long. The Dolphins obviously get Jalen Ramsey. Moving along, we got Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback, the former quarterback of the 49ers, moving over to the Raiders. He's going to get 3 years, 67 million. And then 34 of that is guaranteed. Now, a trade that I did see come along for Darren Waller, he's not going to be happy about losing one of those top targets that could have helped him this year coming up. But he's going to be on the move. Dad, you're going to go over that a little bit later because that came through, a couple of hours ago. Then you got Cameron Sutton, former cornerback of the Steelers, moving over to the Lions. That's 3 years, $30 million, 17 of which is guaranteed. There's one less player for us to play. So
Absolutely.
I'll take that. Then you got Jesse
Absolutely.
Bates the third. He's a safety, very productive safety. That's another safety that we don't have to see in the AFC North. I'm talking about from a Browns perspective. Can I get a hand clap for that? Get a hand clap for that. I mean, here, I respected Jesse's game. I thought Jesse was a
Absolutely.
solid, he was a solid player.
He was an all pro.
Yeah, he was all pro. I mean, here he gets 4 years, 64 million. Here, he deserves that. Getting money, getting money.
Getting money, baby.
Hey, wait a minute. One more time.
Getting money.
Getting money. So here, ultimately, but he deserves it. I'm not mad to see him get that money. You know what I'm saying? One more time, get that money.
Get that money.
Tremaine Edmonds, inside linebacker from the Bills, very productive player. Somebody who is definitely the Bills are going to miss him. I believe he's an all pro performer as well. He is signed over for 3 years, $30 million. Going over to the Bears. The Bears are having a great off season. 17 of
So
that
far,
is guaranteed.
absolutely.
I mean, the Bears are trying to load up one of those historic franchises in our league. So ultimately, we go from there to Bobby Okereke. I think Okereke. That's what it is. Oh, it was Okereke. I believe Bobby Okereke. The Colts moving over to the Giants for 4 years, $40 million, 22 of which is guaranteed. Then you got David Long, linebacker from the Titans last year, moving over to the Dolphins to help Tua in the gang for 2 years and $11 million. So that now there were some other players that was going in free agency that were kind of mixing in because there was a lot going on, a lot of transactions. What did you have over there besides the ones that we were able to actually put in lights?
Well, let's go back to Darren Waller. Darren Waller moving over to the Giants. That's a nice deal for the Giants. You know, Darren Waller already was signed and he was under contract for 3 years. He's 31 years old. He has $51 million remaining on his 3 year contract.
Oh,
It's,
what you said 51 million?
yeah, and then Daniel Jones. He was another free agent that signed earlier this week that we did not cover.
For how much?
I'm not really sure. That
A
I
lot.
don't know, but I know
But when he was at the
I
bank, it
know
made this sound.
I know he making that money. He making that money.
He getting money. Okay.
Yes, he's getting
I just want
money.
to
He's
make
getting
sure
money. And
he's
then on
getting
top
money.
of that, Darren Waller will give him a wonderful target. And sooner or later, we're going to have to really truly see how good Daniel Jones is.
Yeah, I mean, but here he took a lot of strides last year. I believe that he really he kind of turned the corner a little bit to me. You know, I mean, he obviously came out of Duke, and he didn't have all the fanfare that a lot of players like out of big colleges come out with. But I think that he's done a good job to etch his way in the NFL and find himself in a position where he can really be the man.
Absolutely.
This year is going to be definitely a swing year for him to get to where he needs to go.
Absolutely.
So ultimately, what else you got going over there, Pop?
Man, here we go. It's a trade. Stephon Gilmore is moving on to the Cowboys. He's 32 years old. He's up there in age.
He getting up there,
Of course,
Pop.
he started his career with the Patriots, where he was an All-Pro. He's getting up there, a little long in the tooth.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, he should be a veteran presence that should help them.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely getting up there. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, ultimately, I think he still can help a team. You don't forget how to play the game. I mean, his body might break down, but his mind is still sharp. I believe that he could be in positions to try to help them out. And you say you was talking about Andy Dalton. You say Andy Dalton was still getting money.
Man, he's still getting money, man.
Wait, he's still getting
money, baby.
so let me get this straight. Andy Dalton, it feels like he's been in the league for forever.
But
it's like backup quarterbacks, man. That's the best job to have. I mean, a backup quarterback is getting money. I mean,
another thing, I'm talking about getting money. Just back up the Brinks truck, baby.
Yeah.
I'm talking about money.
But and they ain't doing the work. They ain't even playing. I can see if they were playing. They're not even playing.
No, they get paid to prepare.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the best job in the United States of America. It's better than being the president than anybody. Listen, all they have to do is prepare.
And because Case Keenum got all that money, didn't have to do nothing. All he had to do was come in one game. Absolutely. But I mean, he could have did so much more that year that Baker Mayfield was injured. But they was like, no, just stand right there.
Just right there.
Well,
getting
that's
that money, baby.
Hey, get the money.
Getting that money.
What else we gonna say? All right, what else you got, Pop?
Alan Lazard, Brett Favre's favorite target.
You talking about Aaron Rodgers?
To Aaron Rodgers. Excuse me, Brett Favre.
Come on. Well, here. Now, do you know where you probably got Brett Favre from?
Because he went
No, it was the music. The prime, it's ESPN primetime music, because it was always to a Brett Favre highlight.
Okay.
Yeah, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Alan Lazard is signing with the New York Jets.
Yep.
So I wonder, is that a precursor to Aaron Rodgers, demanding that trade from Green Bay and heading and packing his bags to New York City? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I mean, I would hate to see it go down like that, but it certainly looks like it's going down like that. I mean, it just seems like he should always be a Packer, but he's going to end up in a different uniform, the same way a lot of quarterbacks end up in different uniforms later in their careers. I just hope that when Aaron Rodgers move on, because it seems like mentally he hasn't been there for like 5 years. It seems like it's been forever since he's actually been there. And so I don't really know how much he can really help you win. Like we were talking about how much quarterbacks impact winning. And I don't know how much Aaron Rodgers impacts winning anymore. He's still a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's still going to the NFL. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
And then on top of that, Pablo, he's coming to the AFC, where you got Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and all these other quarterbacks that are magnificent. Yeah. Where in the NFC, the road to going to the Super Bowl is easier than it is in the AFC.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. As a matter of fact, I was hearing rumors that it's not just going to be Lazard. They were interested in Randall Cobb, and then they were also interested in Mercedes Lewis, who was his tight end in Green Bay. And my
Yeah.
question is, they didn't make the playoffs last year, and then if you would you bring in these players over with you, does that really, really benefit you and the New York Jets? That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, but ultimately, like those players that you just mentioned, Mercedes Lewis, Randall Cobb, always injured. They're
Oh,
never available. I mean, Randall Cobb. I mean, he probably could have a great year, but I guarantee he's hitting the injured list this year. I
and
promise you, Mercedes Lewis is going to twist her ankle or something. It's just how the way it goes down every year. You know, some players have a great ability to be available. Those are not players like that.
no, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not that way. You got anything else in free agency, or that's about it for right now,
I
Pop?
mean, that's just about it for right now. As a matter of fact, I'm looking over the wire right as we speak. Oh, so Marjorie
P. Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, heading to the Broncos. Go
Yeah.
ahead and give us the sound. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
For Cincinnati. Right.
hey,
Samar J.P. Ryan is headed to the Denver Broncos, and they agreed to a 2-year contract. And good riddance. Thank
good
you.
riddance. Hey, we are not going to miss that food. That food killed the
No,
Browns. Every time we seen them, it was always a bad day. So ultimately, good riddance, and thank you. A lot of good players left the AFC North, and that only speaks well for us, unfortunately. But that's the way we see things.
well, listen. I mean, I'm a Browns fan. Hey, I can't help that.
Hey, it is
But
what it is.
there is one more move that's kind of interesting, though. Guess who's about to get released?
Who?
Matt Ryan.
Oh yeah. Well, but you talk about another player that is really past that prime, past
Absolutely.
that stage. Matt Ryan, just like we were talking earlier, does not impact winning at all.
No,
He does not.
and
I mean,
hasn't for years.
he hasn't for years. I mean, he had his time. He
Yes,
he
yeah.
did impact winning for a second, but ultimately, right now, he does not impact winning at all. And but here, everyone has their time. Everyone has their moment in the sun, so to speak. And Matt Ryan had his. He unfortunately let Brady come back and take away his moment. And the rest is history from there. I mean, I don't know how else you really want to put that, but
Right.
I
And I
mean, it's
think Matt
there.
Ryan probably is going to have a second career, maybe in the booth or on someone's coaching staff.
Yeah,
Right. But Matt Ryan.
good riddance.
Good riddance, baby.
Yep, yep. But he don't get no applause though. Matt Ryan, he don't get no
Oh
applause.
no.
Yeah, ain't
He's
no love
irrelevant.
loss. Ain't no love lost for Matt Ryan. All
No,
right, Pop. So moving over, we kind of wanted to, kind of to piggyback off of Matt Ryan and the quarterback. We wanted to go over to talk about the quarterbacks and how we talk about them impacting winning, and talk about the quarterback tiers, and just kind of really break down, where these quarterbacks actually are. You did a pretty good write up on this when you stated, teams that need a starting quarterback. I mean, just in general, they just need a starting quarterback. So you got the Jets, obviously. They're looking to satisfy that need through free agency, but right now, as we stand here right now, they still need a quarterback, right?
that's correct.
Need a quarterback. You have the Colts need a quarterback.
Absolutely.
Okay. You have the Texans need a quarterback.
Without question.
Like right now, not
Like
tomorrow.
Right. Like right now.
Yeah, I ain't talking about over there. I'm talking about
No,
right now. Okay.
right now.
So make sure now we have the Raiders here, but the Raiders, I don't think they need a quarterback right now. They got Jimmy G, but they probably gonna need one after week 4 because Jimmy G gonna hurt his collarbone.
Man,
something
the
gonna happen.
human Band-Aid will not
Yeah.
make it through the season. And if they think signing Jimmy Garoppolo is going to last for this season,
No.
no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Just ain't gonna happen. Just ain't
No.
gonna happen. But ultimately they were in that bucket until they just signed Jimmy G.
Right.
You have the Falcons who need a quarterback right now. Today.
Right now.
They have there's no quarterback right now who is just going to be penciled in for a day one starter today. Right now. They're just not there. So then we move over to no, we keep the knee going. Yeah, you got the knee.
Yeah.
You put the three dots. That means etc. So you got the 49ers.
Absolutely.
They need a quarterback because Trey Lance is not the answer. I don't believe that Trey Lance is the answer over there.
They also signed Darnold today, Sam Darnold, which is interesting. And we know he's not the answer.
He ain't the answer because what he was seeing ghosts, right?
Yeah.
So now he gonna be seeing ghosts in California.
Absolutely,
because it don't change. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he sucked. He's a bum. I got a saying at work that just says, especially in football, a bum's a bum, a bum.
He's a bum. He's a bum.
Yeah,
right. If they're hoping that Sam Darnold can resurrect his career, that ain't happening.
Because in order to resurrect it, it had to be something to begin with.
And in the beginning, when he came from USC, there was nothing. Just like with Zach Wilson, there's nothing. I'm sorry, Jets fans. Jets fans, I'm sorry.
I mean, there's nothing. I mean, Zach Wilson, we know it. Zach Wilson's a bum.
And the interesting thing about the 49ers is that they let their quarterback slip right through their fingers. Justin Fields, going back to my boy, I know. I'm going to tell you one of these days, Justin Fields is going to win big in the NFL, believe me.
But Fields, he right there.
They bypassed both of the Jets and the 49ers, bypassed them, and neither one of them would be in this situation from the quarterback standpoint that they are right now if they would have just signed.
Yeah, but they didn't, and that's what I put that as the equivalent of when the Pistons had a chance to sign Carmelo. Or to draft Carmelo. You remember that? And they took Darko
Milicic, right?
Yeah. I mean, they will rue the day that they did not draft Carmelo Anthony. They didn't even have to sign him. They just had to draft him. They took Darko Milicic.
Wow.
I don't even know where he is now.
No, he don't know where he is now. Oh, you know what?
Darko.
I think he has a wine farm in Serbia or somewhere, but no, he's doing him because he got paid. But man, oh man, that boy right there. Yes.
That's the definition of a bum.
Yeah, that was a bum.
And then we got the Saints on this list. But the Saints just signed. They signed back Jameis Winston, but he's not going to be in the role to be the starter. I don't believe.
The Raiders, Derek Carr.
Yeah, so Derek Carr is going to be there.
By the Saints, and I'm quite sure that they expect for him to take over the starting role with that team. I'm still going to put them on the need pile until Derek Carr can show me that he can be consistent.
Yeah.
But yes, Derek Carr will be the starter on that team. And as a matter of fact, I read earlier today where Michael Thomas is also redid his contract with the Saints. They expect for him to be healthy, and you put all of their receivers and all the offensive weapons together. Mr. Carr really doesn't have an excuse because he has quite the ensemble of offensive weapons.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I've always had respect for Derek Carr. I always thought that, he was kind of in that category like we were talking about before with, not in the same category with Josh Allen and all those boys and Justin Herbert, but the next tier under them, where he just always finds spectacular ways to lose and to not not to win. But he's not incompetent. He's not a terrible quarterback. He's really not. He's
No,
light years better than his brother. He's the best car quarterback to
yeah,
ever
well,
play.
yeah, he has that title.
Yeah,
But
the best car to ever play.
right, he's not Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield, but
Yeah, he ain't seen no ghosts.
he's just above
But
that. A good comparison for me to him would be Cousins. The Vikings quarterback.
yeah,
Right. They just figure a way not to be, spectacular or to win the big games, but they don't mess it up where they deserve to necessarily get cut or waived or anything like that. You just know if they're your quarterback, you really don't have a chance in winning the Super Bowl or going to a championship game.
You don't have a chance at all.
No.
I mean, here, I can say confidently that Kirk Cousins will not win a Super Bowl in his career.
I can too.
Like I would put
my house
money. I would put money.
No.
Yeah, I would put money on
that
like real money. It just won't happen.
It ain't happening.
Yeah, it just won't happen. The Panthers obviously need a quarterback.
Here we go again. I'm a homer. They got the number 1 pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm here to tell you that CJ Stroud should be that pick. He has the size that Mr. Young does not have. He can make all the throws, everyone. All the throws. And he has surprising mobility. I'm here to tell everybody in Charlotte that if they don't draft CJ, you can book it.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a problem. I mean, CJ Stroud, and this is probably, lofty. Not necessarily lofty. I don't think it is. I believe that CJ Stroud will be the best quarterback to ever come out of Ohio State.
And I think that he has the capability to do that. But it's one of the things that Buckeye fans know for sure. That guy is a leader.
Oh, yeah.
He does not make excuses. He doesn't throw his teammates under the bus.
Nope.
He puts in the work.
Yeah.
And he can make all the throws.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that he'll never live down in Buckeye Nation is what? Losing to Michigan 2 times.
Man, see why you want to remind? Man, come on, man.
I'm just telling you. I'm just saying what everybody else thinking. I'm just telling you what everybody else thinking. Everybody like, yeah, cool. CJ can throw the ball. CJ tall, but CJ lost to Michigan 2 times.
So what I'm supposed to say after that?
There's nothing to say because they were spectacular losses that still haunt me to this day. But here we move along. The next tier in that would be teams with established quarterbacks. So these teams don't have to look for day one starters. They don't have to look to see who's going to start this upcoming year. These teams all have a quarterback on the roster who is established, and we should be able to run through these pretty quick. You got Cincinnati with Joe Burrow.
Absolutely.
You got the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
You got the Eagles. Okay.
With who?
Jalen Hurts.
There you go. Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
You got the Chargers with Justin Herbert.
Yes.
You got the Broncos. For better or for worse. The Broncos for better or for worse, Pop.
No, man. Let's be real about it. Let's be real. They're supposed to have.
They're supposed to have it. But here, what they do have, you know what they have? They have this.
Sierra's husband.
No, they have this. They got a whole bunch of cha-ching. That's what they get in the bank. Because I mean, every time they see Russell Wilson, they should hear this.
Cha-ching.
Every time, because that's what he is.
That's what he is.
You know, at this stage of his career, that's all you really gonna get. The Browns surprisingly find themselves on this list because the Browns have
Deshaun
Watson. And Deshaun Watson is their unquestioned starter.
Again.
He's unproven again, but he's not questioned that he's going to start next year. Like, he's the Browns' day one starter. He'll be their starter for the foreseeable future. There's no debating that. The Jaguars, they're going to have him for the foreseeable future. Trevor Lawrence will be the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars for the foreseeable future. Dak Prescott is going to be the quarterback for the Cowboys, no matter how their fans feel about it or how they don't feel about it. Don't really care. Cowboys fans suck. Just like we suck, they suck. And then they always talk about us. Y'all suck. Well, they just suck, but they get to the playoffs and suck there. You know, we suck in the regular season, don't get there. That's the only difference between Cowboys fans and Browns fans. There ain't too much there. The Bills and you were talking about my boy, you know what I'm saying? I mean, ultimately, he got to get over the top. But he finds ways, just like Carr, to lose in spectacular fashion. And you know who I'm talking about, Pop?
You are talking about Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, man. Josh Allen has all the talent in the world, but I'm telling you, there's something in the gene pool that kid don't have. I'm talking about where you actually go out with killer instinct, win the game, take it over. He just does not do that.
The Bills Mafia are the most lovable fans. They support their team through thick and thin.
Mm-hmm.
Man, those close losses, man. I know the pain. Okay. But man, Bills Mafia is so wonderful, man, and I feel sorry for him. But Josh Allen, he's in a division with
a really tough division, man.
Yeah, I mean, you really still got to see Mr. Mahomes, got to see Mr. Burrow, Mr. Jackson, which is interesting. We're gonna talk about him later, right? And he always figures out a way just to come up a little short. But Bills fans,
just a little bit. He don't come up a lot of bit short. He don't come up a lot, just a little bit. Just a little bit. So the Seahawks just signed back Geno Smith.
Right.
Geno Smith is going to be their quarterback for at least the next 2 years. So ultimately, that would definitely constitute as established. Then you have the Rams. I don't think that I believe that they'll have their quarterback back and everything like that.
Absolutely.
And I think that the Cardinals, even though I'm not really sold on Kyler Murray, he's still going to be back. He ain't going nowhere.
He just needs an extension too. He ain't going nowhere.
Nah. And then you got Justin Fields, and you got Matt Stafford for the Rams, and then you got the quarterback that he replaced, Jared Goff, for the Lions. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually rooting for Jared Goff. I mean, I think that Jared Goff had a great year last year. I really do. I hope that they continue to ascend. I mean, I look at the Lions kind of like how we are. Just a perpetual, putrid franchise that they just are. I mean, it's been that way as long as I can remember, as long as I've been alive. So they've had some of the greatest players to ever play the game. But
where's Detroit at?
Huh?
Where is Detroit at?
It's in Michigan.
Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's in Michigan, right?
But I don't know. Somehow I don't put the Lions in that category. They always suck. So
no, they're lovable losers.
They're lovable losers. They are definitely lovable losers, man. Right. So we talked about our top two. top two. So top two, okay,
Yep.
quarterbacks that impact winning in the NFL. Number one, Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely, without a doubt. If you got Patrick Mahomes on your team,
You
you're
going
going
to
to
playoffs.
win a lot of football games.
You agree that you're going to the playoffs. I don't care.
You're going to the playoffs and
Going
have
to
a
the
chance to win it all every year.
Every year. I believe if Patrick Mahomes went to the Lions would go to the playoffs. I'm not saying Lions win a Super Bowl, but the Lions next year, if Patrick Mahomes flew to Michigan, if he flew to Michigan and say, you know what, I want to put on the silver and blue, whatever they got over there, they would go to the first round of the playoffs next year. The second player is the player that is representing himself right now. He doesn't have an agent and is really trying to get all the money. And that would be Lamar Jackson. So everybody always hits me up and says that, oh yeah, well, Lamar, he doesn't have the stats. Look at his stats. He's having down years. Well, I tell you one thing. Okay, I know we're talking about two players, but I tell you one thing, that Lamar Jackson to me impacts winning from the quarterback position more so than any other quarterback not named Patrick Mahomes. And it's not even close. It's something about Lamar Jackson when you put him on that field and he go out there and he wins football games. And he does it consistently over and over and over again. I don't care if he's using the bathroom. I don't care what it is. But he's going to win that game. And he's going to find a way to do it. Where if you put other quarterbacks like we just talked about in that same position, it's just not going to happen that way. And that's not even unfortunate. That's just the truth. That's the reality. I hope that doesn't hurt anybody's feelings or any other fans' feelings, but that's just the truth.
Would the NFL teams do me a favor? Would one of the teams that need a quarterback call Baltimore and inquire about Lamar Jackson, please?
Take him out of the division.
Listen, I can't tell you how this guy wrecks a defensive scheme.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell you that I've ever seen a player that can perform on the biggest stage and just make magic appear. Listen, you cannot set up a defense to defend him. His ability to run the ball as well as pass the ball, to make off-schedule plays is remarkable. When you have Lamar Jackson on your football team, you have a chance to win every game you play.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You could take Lamar Jackson and send him to Detroit. And Detroit, just like with Mahomes, would go to the NFC Championship game. I know, to me, this is almost sacrilegious. This is like just a complete slap in the face to me. But I have to also be real. And reality has shown me that Mr. Jackson is one of the most unique, dynamic weapons in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. And it's not close
anymore.
Yeah, it's not close. And I just look at it as, even though the Ravens are, from a Browns fan perspective, obviously, the Ravens are the worst team in the NFL. But at the same time, it's disrespectful to Lamar Jackson, to me, for him not to have a contract at this point and to even be in this position where he has to even worry about or even think about or even talk about his future, but beyond what he's done in this league. I believe it's over and beyond, great things that are going on right now when you talk about Lamar Jackson. So the last thing we wanted to do today, Pop, was we wanted to do because March Madness is coming. March Madness.
March
You know,
Madness. All
hey,
right.
March Madness.
Yep.
All right. So everybody out there is gonna be filling out their brackets, and then you actually you spent some ink on a bracket, and I don't really do much on on paper, but ultimately I did this one on paper because you printed it for me. I was like, oh, I mean, it off. So I thought it was special. So I got the brackets now here. The way we're gonna do it, because me and my dad, we had a big breakdown about how we were gonna do this. We're gonna do the South, the East, the Midwest, and the West brackets. Just doing our picks. Now, understand that we're doing these picks from a complete position of ignorance. We do not watch college basketball. So like many of you that fill out brackets that don't watch a lot of it, just watch March Madness. We're kind of in the same boat, and we're not afraid to tell you that. So ultimately, take our picks for whatever they are. We could be right, we could be wrong, but we're gonna make them. All right, Pop. So starting off in the South bracket in the round of 32, well, in the round of 64, you got Alabama against the number 16. I don't even think it really matters. I'm taking Alabama. I don't know about you.
I'm taking Alabama.
All right. And then you got Maryland and West Virginia. I'm taking Maryland. Who you taking?
I'll take West Virginia.
All right. So then I got San Diego State and Charleston. I'm taking San Diego State. Who you?
San Diego State.
All right. Then we got Virginia and Furman. I'm taking Furman. What about you?
I'm taking Virginia.
All right. Then you got Creighton and NC State. I'm taking Creighton.
I'm taking Creighton also.
All right. Then we got Baylor. And was it Santa Clara, you said?
UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah, starting with Santa Barbara. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're going to lose right there in that
They're
round.
going to lose anyway.
Yeah. So I'll take Baylor right there. Who you taking?
Baylor.
Baylor. Okay, I'll make sure. You got Missouri and Utah State. I'm taking Utah State.
I'm taking Missouri.
All right. Then we got Arizona and Princeton. I'm taking Arizona.
Arizona.
All right. So then in the round of 16 in that same region, the round of 32, Alabama and Maryland, I'm taking Alabama to move on to the Sweet 16. How about you?
Well, I'm taking Alabama to move into the Sweet 16 also. Okay. They're just going to end up, I think, playing West Virginia, but it'll equal.
Yeah. I got you. San Diego State. I got San Diego State and Furman in the round of 32. I got San Diego State in my Sweet 16. Who you got in your bottom?
I have Virginia.
Okay. Right. You got Virginia playing Alabama in the Sweet 16.
That's correct.
All right. So I got Creighton and Baylor in the round of 32, and Creighton moving on to the Sweet 16. Who you got?
I have Baylor moving on to the Sweet 16.
All right. So I got an upset in there. I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows. That's March Madness at its finest. Right. Then in the round 32, I got Utah State and Arizona. And then I got Arizona moving on to the Sweet 16. Who you got?
I got Arizona moving on to the Sweet 16.
All right. So then that round and that Sweet 16, moving on to the Elite 8, I have Alabama and San Diego State. I got San Diego State pulling a shocking upset on Alabama to move into the Elite 8. Who do you have in that top bracket moving on to the Elite 8?
I have Alabama going to the Elite 8.
All right. So you got Alabama. I got San Diego State. Then in the bottom bracket there for the Sweet 16, I got Creighton against Arizona. I got Arizona moving on to the Elite 8. Who you got?
I got Arizona.
All right. So we got Arizona moving on there. Then we move down to the East bracket. And like we're going to move this along. It's going to be a little rapid fire. So we got Purdue and was that Texas? Was that Texas right there?
Some school in Texas.
Yeah, some school in Texas.
Not Texas.
Yeah, Purdue.
I think it's San Antonio.
Who you got?
Purdue.
Okay. Yeah. Memphis and Florida Atlantic. I got Memphis. Who you got?
I got Memphis.
Okay. You got Duke and Oral Roberts. I got Oral Roberts.
I got Duke.
All right. Yeah, I'll take Oral. You got Tennessee and Louisiana. I'll take Tennessee. Who you take?
I take Tennessee.
All right. You got Kentucky and Providence. I'll take Providence.
I got Kentucky.
All right. You got Kansas State and Montana State. I take Kansas State. What about you?
I got Kansas State.
Okay. And then you got Michigan State and USC. I take USC.
I got Michigan State.
Okay. And then you got Marquette and Vermont. I'll take Marquette.
I got Marquette.
All right. Then we move over to the round of 32, moving into the Sweet 16. I got Purdue and Memphis. I take Memphis.
I have Purdue
in the Sweet 16.
in the Sweet 16.
All right. I got in my round of 32, Oral Roberts in Tennessee. I'll take Tennessee.
Right. We differ there. I have Duke in my Sweet 16.
In that bottom bracket. Okay.
That's correct.
And then moving on, I got Providence and Kansas State, of which I see Kansas State coming out of that.
Right.
Who you got in your top bracket?
Kentucky.
You got Kentucky. All right. And then I got in my round of 32 USC and Marquette. Then I have Marquette moving on past USC. Who you got?
I got Michigan State.
All right.
Marquette.
All right. So then we get our Sweet 16 to Elite 8. I got Memphis and Tennessee. I'll take Memphis in the upset to move on to the Elite 8. Who you got in your top bracket?
I actually have Purdue.
All right. And then in my bottom bracket, I got Kansas State against Marquette in the round of 16. Moving over to the Elite 8, I got Kansas State moving on. Who you got?
Have Michigan State.
All right. So now we move over to the Midwest bracket. See, this is moving kind of quick, Pop. I told you this was going to move fast. Now, so the top one, we got Houston in North Kentucky. I will take Houston. Who you
Houston
got?
Also.
Okay. Then you got Iowa and Auburn. I take Iowa. Who you take?
I have Iowa.
Okay. Then you got Miami and Drake. I take Miami.
I have Miami.
Then you got Indiana at Kent State. I take Kent State.
I got Indiana.
Then you got Iowa State and Mississippi's. Was that Mississippi State?
Or Pitt.
Or Pitt. I take Iowa State.
I have Iowa State.
Okay. Then you got Xavier and Kennesaw. I take Xavier.
Xavier.
Then you got Texas A&M at Penn State. I take Penn State.
I take Penn State.
Then you got Texas at Colgate. I take Texas.
Texas.
Then you got Kansas at Howard. I take Kansas.
Well, you went over to the.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. All right. So then we got out the round of 32. We move over to the Sweet 16. So I got Houston and Iowa. Then I would take Iowa.
I got Houston.
Okay. Then you got the round of 32. In my bottom bracket, I got Miami at Kent State. I would take Miami.
And I have Indiana going to the Sweet 16.
Okay, so you got Indiana in your Sweet 16 and bottom bracket. Okay.
Correct.
Then I got Iowa State in my round of 32 against Xavier. And then I take Iowa State from there.
I take Xavier.
Okay. Then you got Penn State against Texas in my bottom round of 32 bracket. I will take Penn State from there.
Hook 'em horns, baby. Hook 'em horns.
Oh, hook 'em horns, man. Look at that. All right. So from the Sweet 16, moving over to the Elite 8, I got Iowa against Miami. And in that matchup, I will take Iowa.
And I have Houston against Indiana, and I take Houston.
All right. Houston in your Elite 8. And then in my bottom bracket, I got Iowa State against Penn State. I will take Penn State over Iowa State.
Right. And I have Xavier going to the Sweet 16.
Well, no, we're in the Elite 8 now. Who you got winning your bottom bracket Sweet 16? Who's your matchup?
You talking about in the Midwest?
In the Midwest, yeah.
The bottom bracket, I have Xavier.
Against who?
My final four teams in the Midwest is Houston, Indiana, Xavier, and Texas.
All right, so let's move down to the West.
Yes.
And then we're going to do Kansas, versus Howard. I take Kansas. You
Kansas.
okay? Then you got Arkansas against Illinois. I take Arkansas.
I take Arkansas.
Then you got St. Mary at VCU. I take St. Mary.
I got St. Mary.
Then you got UConn at Iona. I take Iona.
I got UConn.
Then you got TCU at Arizona State. I will take Arizona State.
I got TCU.
Okay. Then you got Gonzaga at Grand. What's that? Grand. What is that? I can't see it. You just got dots right here.
Well, yeah, it's dots here too. So
okay. Well,
I think it's Grand Canyon State or something.
Yeah, it don't matter. Take Gonzaga there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you got was it Northwestern at Boise State? I will take Northwestern there.
I have Northwestern, which is hard to do, but
yeah. You got UCLA at UNC. Not the UNC that you know and love, but the UNC
Asheville.
So I'll take UCLA there.
I have UCLA.
Yeah. Then we move back up in the round of 32. I got Kansas against Arkansas. I'll take Kansas.
I'll take Kansas.
Yeah. Then I got St. Mary in my bottom bracket. St. Mary against Iona. I will take St. Mary.
I got St. Mary.
Then I'll take Arizona State against Gonzaga, and I'll take Gonzaga.
I'll take the Zags.
Yeah. Then I got in my bottom bracket in the round of 32. I got what's this? Northwestern against UCLA. I'll take UCLA.
I have UCLA.
Yeah, it seems like this West bracket. There's a lot more blue bloods down here. A lot. They're kind of heavy hitters down here. A lot.
Yeah.
For the most part. So you got Kansas against St. Mary's, and this is where I'll kind of go with the upset a little bit. I'll take St. Mary over Kansas, and I'll put them in the lead.
Wow. I take Kansas.
All right. Then you got Gonzaga against UCLA. I'll take UCLA over them to get to the
Zags.
Okay. So I got UCLA in my Elite Eight. You got Gonzaga in there. Now we can move over to the Final Four. Go back to the South bracket. I got San Diego State against Arizona. I will go with Arizona in my Final Four from the South.
From the South?
Yep. Who you got from the South?
Alabama.
All right. Then from the East bracket, I got Memphis against Kansas State. I will take Kansas State. Who you got?
Coming out the East, I have Duke.
Okay. Then in the Midwest, I got Iowa against Penn State. I'll take Iowa.
And see, I have Houston against Texas, and I take Houston.
Okay. Then in the West, I got St. Mary's against UCLA. I will take St. Mary's.
And I have Kansas against St. Mary's, and I got Kansas.
All right. So the final four, I have in the South and the Midwest, I have Arizona, Iowa. So out of that, that's going to be a tough matchup. But I think that Iowa has too much for them. So I will go with Iowa.
Wow.
What will you go for?
Which region we at?
Between the South and the Midwest. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. I take that back. It'll be between the South and the East. So it'd be Arizona against Kansas State. So I would take, so mine will be Arizona advancing. Arizona will be in the championship game in my bracket. Who do you have in the championship game on the left side?
Right. First of all, in the Final Four, the game between the South regional and the East regional, I have Alabama against Duke.
Okay.
With Alabama winning.
Okay. So you got a number one seed in yours. I got Arizona sitting right there. Now, in my right side of the bracket, I got Midwest and I got the West brackets. I got Iowa against St. Mary. I believe that Iowa will have too much for St. Mary, so I put Iowa in my championship game to the right. Who you got?
Iowa? Okay. No. Right in my Final Four, the Midwest region, I got Houston coming out of it, and then in the West region, I have Kansas coming out of it, and I have Houston winning it.
Okay. And then in my matchup, I have Arizona and Iowa. And then my champion between Arizona and Iowa would be Iowa.
Wow.
So my champion is Iowa. Who is your champion?
My champion is the Houston Cougars.
Mm. So that would be a number one seed. It hasn't happened in a while. We have a number one to go all the way down and just do it straight out. But
And
like I
I
said,
have no reasoning why I picked Houston.
no,
Besides my daughter being on vacation there.
and I have no reasoning at all why I
No.
picked Iowa. I picked Iowa though. At least it's Big Ten though.
Well, hey, I mean, hey, I don't know one player for Iowa.
Don't matter. Here, I don't
No.
know none of those players, but I
I
guess
don't know.
here I guarantee I watch some of these games because I just want to see how the picks shake out. So now I'm interested to see. I'm glad we did that. That was a pretty fast exercise in futility because like we have no
Oh, this
expertise.
futility.
Oh, it's futility for sure.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that I swear to God, if that come out to be a perfect bracket, man, I need to put that in on ESPN right now. Because if those picks started to fall, I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness, I can just see it. You know,
Well,
could you imagine those crazy picks started to fall?
oh man, I can imagine anything in college basketball, man. I really can. As a matter of fact, I know this. I'm gonna take a second, just a quick second, for a sobering moment.
Mm.
It is a shame that college basketball has failed to where it is right now. It is a shame that the
Where did it
average
used to be?
fan,
Where did it used to be?
the March Madness was a great event annually. The players, we knew exactly who the players for every team was. We rooted for them big time. With one and done, you don't even have a chance to even know who the star players are before they ship off to the NBA, which I don't blame them for doing it. But with that, it sort of like killed the zest and the zeal that I had for college basketball. I look back over the years, some of the greatest players in NCAA history, all the way from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Larry Bird and Magic Johnson to Michael Jordan in North Carolina. All of those relationships have been frayed because you never get to know who the players are anymore. So
Yeah, I kind of. It's funny that you brought that up, though. I remember sitting in grandma's living room and watching Scooney Penn and Michael Redd with you for Ohio State, and it was kind of exciting, to get to know the team and to watch them, kind of, we used to watch regular season games
absolutely.
back when I was a kid, and it seemed like it was more exciting. I can still remember that theme song the CBS theme song.
Yeah.
I can still hear it. But ultimately, it's just unfortunately it's not that way.
No,
It's
it's
just
not
not
that.
that way. It's not that way anymore, and it just won't. Like you said, with one and done. But I don't know, is it one and done's? Is it entirely one and done's fault? Or is it just because even like my wife, she loves basketball. She loves basketball, but even when she was at Ohio State, she's alumni, she didn't necessarily like watching college basketball. She liked watching college football, but she hated sitting there to watch college basketball. So I just don't know if there's a great appetite for college basketball in this country. I'll argue to say that because you got AAU, you got so many other basketball circuits that kids engage in that I don't think that the college might be an afterthought. That there's no AAU for college football, so it's not really, it's not really like a bogged down anyway. Those traditions are so strong in college football, but I don't think those traditions are that strong and outside of the blue bloods, like North Carolina, Duke, outside of those schools, you don't really have much star power in college basketball where you can find star power across the entire landscape in college football.
Imagine if Jason Tatum would have stayed in college for 3 years. Imagine if Kyrie Irving would have stayed in college for 3 years. Imagine, let's put it like this. I go back to a time where Shaquille O'Neal stayed at LSU for 3 years. I go back to a time where Michael Jordan stayed at North Carolina for 3 years. I go back in time to when Michael Redd was on campus and playing for 3 years. So the relationship that you were able to build with the players back then used to really be substantial. Magic Johnson stayed at Michigan State for 3 years. The same thing with Larry Bird at Indiana State. He was there for 3 years. And you don't really get to have any type of relationship with players today because they're one and done. They'll be in the NBA draft, or they go to the CBA. Is the CBA the G League?
Yeah, G League.
Right. Or right. It's not the same. It's just the product is not the same. I can remember growing up every year, even with conference tournaments, the Big Ten conference tournament or the ACC conference tournament or the Big East back then, their conference tournament. That was must-see TV. It doesn't exist anymore. I mean, I don't know how many people actually tune in to see Duke against North Carolina anymore. But back in the day, it was must-see TV.
Well, again, like I said, and that kind of makes my point a little bit. I mean, Duke versus North Carolina was and still is a thing. You know what I'm saying? But there's not many Duke North Carolina correlations in college basketball is what I mean. Like a game against from Ohio State against Michigan in basketball obviously doesn't carry the same weight as Ohio State versus Michigan in football. Like who's Indiana's big rival? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Indiana's big. You talking about historically, or you
well,
talking?
no, I'm just saying like right now, like who gets up to watch Indiana play Indiana State or whatever is going on, I mean, Purdue, like who wants to watch Purdue play somebody or who wants to watch Iowa play somebody? I mean, I just think that back in the day, it's kind of like what you were talking about with basketball. I'm sorry, with baseball, where people had things to do. I mean, they didn't have things to do. I'm sorry. They didn't have things to do back in the day. So, you watch college basketball because it was the thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, I believe that basketball has so many outlets, so many different outlets in different ways. Just for basketball in general, you got video games, you got AAU, you got different pickup games, you got rec league, you got so many different things that people can consume basketball with versus an augmented kind of version of basketball. I mean, it's a different shot clock. It's a different game. Like if you ever watch college, you watch college basketball. It's a different game than the NBA game. It's a different game than high school basketball. College basketball is a game in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and it's not necessarily aesthetically pleasing to watch. I mean, it's just not really an exciting game. That's why March Madness, I believe, is such of an event. Like basically, in college basketball, kind of did it for themselves. Kind of did it to themselves. They circled everything around March Madness, where they rendered their regular season completely irrelevant. It's all about March Madness. Can you get to the tournament? Can you get to the field of 68? Before it was about can you win your league? Can you win 20 games? You know what I'm saying? Like I remember back when UMass. Who was that player? That UMass was trying to go undefeated. The
Canby.
tall guy.
Canby.
Canby, Marcus Canby. I
Yes.
remember like they cared about the regular season. You know what I'm saying? Like that team was going all out. I remember watching Iverson at Georgetown. You know what I'm saying? They were out there playing. Now all it's about is the tournament. And they ultimately give us what we want. We just did a bracket. We just did a bracket for the tournament, but we're not doing a bracket for the Big Ten tournament. We're not doing a bracket about the Big Ten standings. It doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. Even if Ohio State, for all of their faults, could have found a way to the tournament if they would have been able to win 2 more games in the Big Ten tournament.
Okay. I mean, I really didn't even know that.
Yeah, Ohio State lost
7
10 games in a row. They lost every game. They were like 15-5 or 15-4. Then they just started losing.
I don't think that really had anything to do with it, though. I mean, I'm talking about from my perspective. I'm talking about the fanhood that used to exist that doesn't exist anymore.
That go right there, Pop. That's the music.
What is it?
Remember?
Yes. CBS.
That's it. CBS. You got the crowd going crazy.
Yes.
Yay! Our team out there.
No more. No more. It's not the same.
It just ain't the same.
It just isn't.
But I'll tell you what, it used to hit different though.
It used to hit.
It used to hit different.
I remember actually, like scheduling out my games. So when I would be able to see it, when I would be home and when I would be at work and this, that, and the other. Now it's just another event, baby. It's just oh Lord. And it pains me to say that it's just another event.
It's just another event. Now here, it's a big event. I'm not taking it away from them. No, in no way, shape, or form am I taking away their event. But I am saying that for the reasons that I mentioned before, and I know that my reasons aren't all encompassing, but at the end of the day, those are some of the reasons for the demise of the heart and soul of college basketball. The one and done is something to do with it too, but it's also the world we live in today, and the difference of the game is just not the same. I don't think people really have an appetite for it anymore. It's just, people have kind of moved on, but they have an appetite for March Madness because people in this country also have an appetite for gambling. And there's nothing more important to gamble on than your bracket. Can you fill out the perfect bracket? And what did we just do? Without watching a game, we filled out a bracket with the hopes of having a bracket. What difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference at all. All right, Pop. Well, ultimately, I believe that we had a lot to go over. We got to it. We got in, we got out. A lot of things, I think kind of worked in our favor. But at the end of the day, we'll just continue to work out the kinks, continue to put in the work, continue to do the preparation and do the things that we need to do so that we can continue to deliver the best content possible. So, until next week, I will say that we have work to do and we'll get it done.
Absolutely. You take care and God bless.
Take care, guys. Peace.
Brought to you by Create 2 Media. It's the Father Son Talk Sports Show.